We are live here on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. I wanted to just kind of make a video about the real truth about learning from YouTube videos and my experience with trying to figure things out and learn from other people on YouTube. I think that a lot of people have great intentions, but there's a clear difference between a professional, let's say a professional musician, and an amateur musician. The professional knows exactly how to play it, what's being played, and the mechanics of how that's all being played very efficiently, with the least amount of effort. And I think that a lot of people who don't play, let's say, an instrument, don't really understand that until they really, get, maybe they play for a long time or even better, instead of trying to figure something out for 5-10 years and then realizing like, oh wow, like I've been playing it wrong this whole time for a decade. Being able to pay somebody for music lessons and have them break it down in 1 minute, so that you're saving yourself 5-10 years of like working on like mechanics that aren't proper, right? Now my example for this is I was learning Black Dog on guitar about a month ago, and because I got a guitar like in the middle of May, so I was learning how to play guitar and I wanted to learn a Led Zeppelin song, so I went on YouTube, right? And I was like, what's the notes, and I'll figure everything out after that. The guy that was showing you how to play it on YouTube was like, I guess, a music teacher. And I'm like, all right, cool. Like, he's a guitarist, guitar teacher. Cool. He should probably know what's up. So I'm watching the video and I'm like, okay, he's teaching this completely wrong, because he's telling you to do 3 movements instead of having your finger in one position, having your hand in one position and just rolling your finger back, so that you're not moving 3 different ways to do one thing, right? And it's super weird, because like, if you don't have a musical background, you're going to be so frustrated and realize like, the way this guy is teaching you how to play this, you could never play it to the speed of the actual song, because it's wrong. The mechanics, that's not how it's played. And that's really, it was like a really interesting like moment for me, because I'm like, wow, like, so many people, including myself, like, we'll go to YouTube and we'll try to watch a video and try to understand it, but a lot of people have intentions, but that doesn't mean that they can get you to the results that you're trying to get to. And a lot of people go on there for fitness, and there's a lot of cool fitness stuff on there. But why is it that people are still not getting to their fitness goals? And there's so much more to that. But I think at the end of the day, like, if you're trying to build a house, like, people are like, what's the diet that I need to do? And unfortunately, asking what diet you need to do is that's not the right question you want to be asking yourself, because that's like saying, well, what's the best hammer to build a house, when ultimately to build a house you need, an engineer to make the blueprint, you need a project manager, maybe you need, a bulldozer to get the sands, start getting the foundation right. You need wood, you need nails, you need drills, you need a team, a construction crew. There's so many variables in that. So it's the same with like your fitness, where like asking what diet you need, like, that's something that you really want to go to a licensed nutritionist for, because they're actually, but like, in a legal standpoint, the only person that can actually prescribe you a diet. Like, for instance, when I went through my personal training certification with NASM, they break down how it's out of scope of a personal trainer to prescribe a diet. A personal trainer can give you your macros. They can give you how much protein, carbs, and fat that you need, right? They can set that for you, your calories, but it's out of scope of a personal trainer to tell you what diet, prescribe you the diet. But that's something that you want to seek a professional who is licensed by whatever state you live in to help you with that. But a lot of times, like, we jump on YouTube and we want to learn stuff and it's quick and easy. But at the end of the day, I use that house analogy with the hammer because it's a little piece of the puzzle, and you can't build a puzzle with one piece. If you had that same piece 100 times, it's never going to work. You're going to have a bunch of the same pieces that don't do anything, right? So when you're trying to figure out how to get to a goal, it's all about really reverse engineering things and having all of the tools that you need to get you there, rather than like a YouTube video is kind of going to break down the gist of it. But a lot of times, like, I use the guitar analogy. I think this guy had like 30,000 followers, was a guitar teacher, could play guitar very well. But clearly he was showing you how to play a Led Zeppelin song in a way that you would never be able to play it at speed, because the mechanics and the fingering were very incorrect. And I actually had this happen again with a Stevie Ray Vaughan song. I just had a guitar lesson with my guitar teacher, and he was like, "Oh yeah, that's clearly super wrong." And then I was like, I don't understand how this guy could play. I don't understand how Stevie Ray Vaughan could play this on guitar. It seems impossible, until I went and I showed my guitar teacher, and he was like, "Oh, this is how you do it." And in 30 seconds, I was like, "Oh, well, of course I was never going to play it like that, because you can't play it like that. It's impossible." So I think YouTube has a lot of great content, a lot of things. And I know the mindset of YouTube is really cool because it's more like learning oriented, whereas like Facebook and like stuff like, a platform like that, or even Instagram, is not really like, the mindset is not really based off of like learning something. It's more like a leisure and like family, friends, and chilling and like memes and stuff. But I'm noticing a very big gap of like, hey, the whole picture is not being broken down on YouTube. And especially, I think some people do it on purpose on YouTube, where they want you to like click the link and get you on a phone call, so that you can hire them to coach you through the whole process. So I think at the end of the day, it's so much more valuable to find somebody that's a professional or knows what they're doing. Like I said earlier, a professional guitarist is completely different from like your cousin that plays guitar for 2 years, and he can play guitar, but he's not like, "Oh no, you're playing it wrong. This is how you need to have your hand, and this is how you practice," and whatever, right? And can break down like, hey, like, these are the things that people think are right, but they're actually not going to take you to that next level that's going to make you stand out. And that's why you see so many musicians, there's a smaller amount at a higher level compared to like your typical musician, because it's not necessarily how long they're practicing, it's what they're practicing and how they're practicing in a shorter amount of time. And even like high intensity intervals stands true to the mechanics of learning an instrument. So same thing with fitness, right? So anyways, I think there's a big disconnect with YouTube videos, and I think it's great that there's so much content and like learning whatever content on YouTube. But at the end of the day, I've found to maximize what you're learning and do it in the shortest amount of time and actually get the information that you need is going to be 1 from books, 2 is going to be from hiring a coach. And even more so, you're going to get more from hiring a coach. And then the second level would be reading the book. So hiring the coach might be $5,000 for like maybe a year program, let's say, or whatever it is, right? Whereas the book that they wrote on their coaching methodology and the program that they teach, they put that in the book, and you can buy the book for like 20, 30 bucks, and you can figure it out and do it on your own, right? And you figure that's somebody who spent maybe like 10, 20, 30, 40 years, going to school, experience in their own personal life, studying this, interviewing other people in the field, refining it, coaching their own clients. And now after 20 to 30, 40 years, they've written the book, refined the process, and they've dialed everything down to exactly what you need for that goal. So I just really want to like challenge you guys that if you really want to like reach any goal, it's going to be all about not just trying to get online and like figure it out, but like what books can you read and who can you hire or talk to that's going to give you the real meat and potatoes of what you really are missing, that a lot of times people don't really even realize. And I mean like the people that are like teaching you or coaching stuff on like YouTube or whatever, like they're not really understanding like what people need, how different people are coached, and how people are challenged within a coaching model. So like I have a friend, one of her doctors said, hey, you can't drink anymore. And she's like, I don't even drink alcohol. But the moment my doctor said I cannot drink anymore for like 6 months, she's like, I felt challenged. And because of that, I started drinking every day, right? Obviously a very self-aware person coming from like a medical background and psychiatry. But I think it's really interesting to understand like that story reflects how different people are coached in different ways. Some people like to be challenged. Some people like to be inspired and guided towards something, right? So the coaching model is super different, and even more so like just going on YouTube and like seeing different things, like it's not very custom to how a specific person learns, on top of having one nugget out of, you know, one puzzle piece out of like a 500 piece puzzle. So I just kind of wanted to break that down. Hopefully you've learned something. If you feel like you've learned anything from this video, I would love to know what stuck out for you the most. Post that in the comments, and maybe I'll do like a video on that. Or if you have any ideas on some other topics that you want me to cover, let me know and I'll see what's up. I'm gonna get out of here, guys. I appreciate it. And like I said, I challenge you to find the books that you can learn from to solve the problems, or even find the coaches in that space that, you know, the authors of the book, they generally do coaching as well. Obviously at a higher level, one-to-one, personalized, customized setting. But that's going to be a game changer for anybody that's like looking to not spend the next like 1, 3, 4, 5, 10 years trying to make something happen. Let's say like with your fitness goals, rather than hiring somebody, reading that book and getting that actually solved, that problem solved in the next 1 to 3 months. And if you look at anybody like Elon Musk, living with his first principles and saying no to things that don't serve his highest goal, like taking us to Mars or just like changing humanity, he says no to. So, but I can guarantee you Elon Musk is still reading books, and he's hiring people as well. He's hiring rocket engineers. He learned engineering on his own. So if you look at high performers like Elon Musk, Brendan Burchard, you know, Oprah, people like that, like they're not just figuring things out, and what's got them to that next level is hiring people, reading the books, and not just kind of taking little pieces of information and trying to fill in your own knowledge and experience. And it just doesn't work, rather than getting it done and getting something done in 3 months instead of spending the next 5, 10 years still like kind of getting it down, but not really mastering it to the level that we all deserve in our lives. So I'm going to get out of here, guys. I appreciate it. Hopefully, like I said, you got something from this. If you did, post it in the comments, and I'll see you guys later.